Part 1. The Curse of the Volunteer and the Mechanics of Energy Theft. You are currently suffering from a pathology known as hyperfunctionality in a low-functioning environment, and the primary symptom of this disease is initiative. You believe that taking initiative is a virtue because you were trained by a system that requires free labor to maintain its crumbling infrastructure. You fix the problems that others ignore. You pay the bills that others forget. You suggest solutions to people who are addicted to their suffering. You are the captain of a sinking ship where the crew is actively drilling holes in the hull, and you think that by bailing water faster, taking more initiative, you can save them. The liquidation of initiative is the brutal realization that in a parasitic environment, your initiative is not a gift. It is the food source of the parasite. Every time you solve a problem for your girlfriend, you rob her of the necessity to evolve. Every time you take the initiative to cover for your parents' lack of planning, you validate their inertia. You are the enabler of your own oppression. The Matrix loves a man with initiative because he is the perfect battery. He self-charges. He looks for work. He creates value where there was none, and then he hands that value over to the passive class in exchange for a pat on the head or a moment of silence. You must understand that initiative is a vector. It has a direction. If your initiative is directed outward towards saving, fixing, or managing the chaos of others, it is a negative vector. It drains your Ioxy-3 reserve. You are spending your limited God force on repairing the mistakes of NPCs, non-player characters. This is a tactical error of the highest order. The liquidation of initiative requires you to surgically remove the fixer identity from your ego. You pride yourself on being the one who gets things done. This pride is a trap. It is the vanity of the slave who is proud of how much cotton he picked. The sovereign architect does not get things done for others. He gets his mission done. Everything else is allowed to rot. If the dishes are dirty, let them rot. If the light bulb is out, let it act as a reminder of the darkness. If the girlfriend is bored, let her stare at the wall. When you take the initiative to fix the environment, you are artificially stabilizing a reality that needs to collapse. You are the shock absorber for their incompetence. You are smoothing out the ride for people who deserve to feel every bump in the road. By killing your initiative, you remove the shock absorber. You let the raw, jagged reality hit them. This is not cruelty, it is physics. Action meets reaction. If you stop acting, they must react, or they will perish. Either way, you are free. You must learn the power of strategic incompetence. When they look to you for the solution, you must offer a blank stare. I don't know, I can't help. Figure it out. These phrases are the shields of the sovereign. They force the energy back onto the source. You are reflecting the burden back to its owner. The biological cost of domestic initiative is massive. The brain burns glucose when it solves problems. When you spend your morning solving the what's for breakfast problem or the how do we pay this bill problem, you are depleting the glycogen stores of your prefrontal cortex. By the time you sit down to write your script or edit your video, you are operating on a secondary, lower quality fuel source. You are creatively tired because you spent your prime energy on subprime problems. The liquidation of initiative is the act of hoarding your glucose for the imperial work. You become lazy in the eyes of the world so you can be a titan in the eyes of history. Let them call you lazy. Let them call you passive. Let them say, you never help around here anymore. Good. Their complaints are the sound of the parasite starving. The parasite screams when the host stops feeding it. Your initiative was the feed. You have cut the supply line. Now you watch. You observe. You do not intervene. This requires a level of emotional coldness that will feel unnatural at first because you have been conditioned to be the good boy. The good boy helps. The good boy fixes. The good boy dies poor and exhausted. The sovereign watches the fire burn and uses the light to read his map. Furthermore, initiative is a signal of subservience in a hierarchy of power. The king does not take initiative to pour the wine. The servant does. The king does not run to answer the door. The guard does. When you are constantly jumping up to handle the micro tasks of life, you are signaling to your environment that your time is of low value. You are broadcasting, my time is cheap enough to be spent on this triviality. The liquidation of initiative is the recalibration of your status. You sit still. You move slowly. You only act on things that move the needle of the empire. If it doesn't bring you closer to the 540 videos, you have no initiative for it. This creates a power vacuum in your home. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you stop doing the laundry pile grows until it becomes a crisis. In that crisis, someone else will eventually have to act. If they don't, you simply buy new clothes or wear dirty ones. You do not break, you do not yield. This is a game of chicken. You are playing chicken with the chaos. Most men blink first. They can't stand the mess. They fix it and they lose. The sovereign never blinks. He lives in the mess until the mess organizes itself around his dominance. The volunteer reflex is the specific neural pathway we are cutting. It is the reflex that makes you say, I'll do it before you even think. It is a trauma response. You learned early on that that being useful was a way to stay safe or get love. This is slave software. You are trying to buy safety with labor. The sovereign buys safety with power. Power comes from concentrated resource accumulation, not from scattered acts of service. You must install a latency buffer between a stimulus and your response. When a problem arises, count to 10. In those 10 seconds, ask yourself, is this my problem? Does this serve the mission? If the answer is no, you kill the reflex. You remain motionless. This stillness is terrifying to the people around you. They are used to your motion. Your stillness forces them to confront their own stillness. It forces them to see that they are doing nothing. You are holding up a mirror of inaction. Finally, understand that initiative without authority is martyrdom. You have been taking the initiative to save people, girlfriend, parents, who have not given you the authority to lead them. They want your help, but they don't want your command. They want your money, but they don't want your rules. This is a bad trade. You are a mercenary fighting for a country that hates you. The liquidation of initiative is the withdrawal of your troops. You are pulling back to the border of your own skin. You declare, I am no longer the general of this family. I am the general of myself. If they want your initiative, they must sign a treaty of total surrender to your vision. Until then, you are neutral. You are Switzerland with nukes. You have the power, but you do not deploy it for their petty squabbles. You save it for the real war, the war against the matrix, the war for the 540 videos, the war for your soul. The second phase of the liquidation of initiative requires a fundamental understanding of the physics of sovereignty, specifically the law of conservation of kinetic energy. You must view your daily supply of willpower, focus, and physical energy not as a renewable resource, but as a finite ammo count. You wake up with exactly enough bullets to kill the targets required for your ascension, the videos, the scripts, the health protocols. Every time you take the initiative to solve a domestic issue, where are my keys? What are we eating? How do I fix this computer? You are firing a bullet into the dirt. You are wasting lethal ammunition on non-combatants. The IOXI 3 protocol dictates that you must become a closed energy system. You do not leak energy into the environment. You only direct energy into the mainframe of the mission. This means you must cultivate a state of strategic apathy toward the chaos that surrounds you. If the environment is chaotic, let it be chaotic. If the entropy of the house increases, let it increase. The only thing that must remain ordered is your mind and your output. You are the eye of the storm. The storm rages around you. Parents complaining, girlfriend bored, bills piling up. But inside the eye, there is only the silence of the edit and the rhythm of the keyboard. This is not negligence. It is prioritization. You are betting that the success of the channel will solve all these problems eventually. Money fixes 99% of domestic entropy. So you are ignoring the symptoms, the mess, to cure the disease, the poverty. The human tries to clean the mess while dying of the disease. The machine cures the disease and then hires a cleaner. This brings us to the law of non-interference. You must adopt the prime directive of the sovereign architect. Do not interfere with the natural consequences of others' incompetence. When you take the initiative to save someone from their own laziness, you are robbing them of the pain that is necessary for their growth. Pain is data. Pain is the universe telling you that your current strategy is failing. When your girlfriend runs out of money because she didn't work, and you take the initiative to feed her, you are intercepting the data. You are preventing her from feeling the hunger that might force her to get a job or help with the channel. You are the firewall that blocks reality. The liquidation of initiative means you tear down the firewall. You let the malware of her laziness crash her system. You watch it happen. You do not comment. You do not gloat. You do not fix. You simply observe. This is the hardest thing for a protector archetype to do. You are wired to catch the falling glass. Let the glass shatter. The sound of shattering glass is the sound of truth. It wakes people up. Your help has been a lullaby that keeps them asleep. By doing nothing, you become an agent of awakening. You are forcing them to confront the cause and effect of their own lives. If they starve, they starve. If they fail, they fail. You are not the savior. You are the witness. You must also understand the hero trap. Taking initiative makes you feel like a hero. It gives you a dopamine hit of importance. Look at me. I'm holding it all together. This is a vanity metric. You are holding together a pile of rubble. Who cares? The sovereign does not want to be the king of rubble. He wants to be the architect of a new world. To build a new, you must let the old collapse. You must kill the part of your ego that needs to be needed. If you are indispensable to your girlfriend's daily survival, you are a slave. You want to be obsolete in the domestic sphere, so you can be omnipotent in the creative sphere. You want a life where you don't have to do anything but your great work. To get there, you must stop doing the small work. You must undergo a period of tactical incompetence. When asked to do something trivial, do it so poorly or so slowly that they never ask you again. This is a dark art, but a necessary one. You are training them to bypass you. You are routing the traffic of bullshit around your node so that your bandwidth remains pure. You are building a Faraday cage around your focus. No signals get in unless they are high-frequency signals of wealth and power. The liquidation of initiative also applies to emotional regulation of the tribe. Currently, you likely take the initiative to fix the mood. If the room is tense, you tell a joke. If someone is sad, you try to cheer them up. Stop. You are not the emotional thermostat of the house. You are a cold, unfeeling monolith of production. If the mood is bad, let it be bad. Use the bad mood. Darkness is better for editing anyway. When you stop trying to fix the vibe, you reclaim a massive amount of cognitive load. You realize that their emotions are their responsibility. You are not the entertainer. You are not the jester. You are the king working in his study. If the peasants are grumpy in the courtyard, that is not the king's concern until they breach the gate. And if they breach the gate, you don't cheer them up. You execute them, metaphorically, by cutting them off. This withdrawal of emotional initiative will terrify them more than the withdrawal of labor. They are addicted to your emotional labor. When you stop validating their feelings, they will escalate. They will cry. They will scream. They will accuse you of being a robot. Be the robot. The robot produces 540 videos. The human cries and accomplishes nothing. Finally, consider the opportunity cost of the savior complex. Every hour you spend saving your family from themselves is an hour you did not spend saving yourself. And here is the brutal math. You cannot save them until you save yourself. By trying to save them now, while you are broke and rotting, you ensure that you all drown. It is a collective suicide pact disguised as altruism. The liquidation of initiative is the act of putting on your own oxygen mask first, while the others are gasping. It looks selfish. It feels cruel. But it is the only way anyone survives. You must become the bad guy in their narrative so you can be the great man in your own. You must accept the villain role. He doesn't help. He doesn't care. He's obsessed. Wear these insults like armor. They are proof that you have successfully conserved your kinetic energy. You are a coiled spring, compressing all that saved energy into a single point of release, the content. The explosion of your success will be the only apology you ever owe them, and by then, you won't need to apologize. You will be too far away to hear them. The final stage of the liquidation of initiative is the implementation of the dead hand protocol. In nuclear strategy, the dead hand is an automated system that launches a retaliatory strike even if the entire command structure is destroyed. In your life, the dead hand is the system of non-negotiable boundaries that protects your mission even when you are not actively defending it. It is a state of passive dominance. You do not need to take initiative to tell people to leave you alone. Your very presence radiates a do not enter signal so powerful that they obey instinctively. This is achieved by creating an active void. An active void is not just emptiness. It is a vacuum that sucks the oxygen out of any distraction. When you are in your zone, your silence should be so heavy that it's physically uncomfortable for others to interrupt. You are not ignoring them. You are occupying a different dimension of density. The human tries to be polite while working. The sovereign architect emits a low-frequency hum of danger. The dead hand ensures that if anyone crosses the line, interrupts a deep work session, demands emotional labor, tries to steal resources, the consequences are automatic and severe. You do not argue. You do not explain. You simply engage the shutdown sequence. Total withdrawal of attention. Total withdrawal of resources. This Pavlovian training rewires the neural pathways of the parasites. They learn that disturbing the architect equals pain. Eventually, they stop. The active void also applies to your problem-solving mechanics. When a crisis arises, a bill is unpaid, the internet cuts out, the fridge is empty. You do not rush to fill the void with your labor. You let the void sit there. You let the discomfort grow. You watch the other inhabitants of your ecosystem squirm. They look at you, waiting for the hero to jump up and fix it. You sit still. You hold the gaze. You are forcing them to step into the void. This is leadership through absence. By refusing to act, you force others to develop competence, or you expose their total incompetence, which validates your decision to eventually leave them. Either way, you win. The dead hand dictates that you only move when the issue threatens the critical path of the 540 videos. If the internet goes down, you fix it instantly because that is your supply line. If the dishes are dirty, you do nothing because that is irrelevant to the mission. This selective action creates a hierarchy of reality. You are teaching the universe and your family what matters. Only the mission matters. Everything else is background noise. The liquidation of initiative is also the death of preemptive apology. You likely walk around with a subtle, subconscious apology in your demeanor, apologizing for being busy, busy, apologizing for not having money, apologizing for being weird. This is a leak. It is your initiative trying to smooth over social friction before it happens. Stop. Never apologize for your ambition. Never apologize for your poverty when that poverty is the result of investing in your dream. Never apologize for your silence. When you kill the apology, you reclaim your dignity. You walk with the weight of a man who knows exactly what he is doing. This lack of apology makes you magnetic and terrifying. People respect clarity. They respect a man who accepts the cost of his choices. When you stop trying to make everyone feel comfortable with your wartime lifestyle, you free yourself to fully embody it. You become a monolith of purpose. Monoliths do not apologize for casting a shadow. The ultimate goal of this liquidation is to reach the state of flow state sovereignty. In this state, there is no initiative because there is no friction between thought and action. You are not deciding to work. You are simply working. You are not deciding to ignore the world. The world simply ceases to exist. Initiative implies a struggle against inertia. When you are a machine of perpetual motion, inertia is dead. You are a kinetic event. You are a landslide. A landslide doesn't take initiative to crush a village. It crushes it because that is the nature of gravity and mass. You are aligning yourself with the gravity of your own destiny. You are becoming a force of nature. Forces of nature do not have to-do lists. They have trajectories. Your trajectory is 540 videos. Your trajectory is the loan. Your trajectory is the exit. Anything that stands in the way of the trajectory gets crushed, not out of malice, but out of physics. Finally, realize that by liquidating your initiative to save others, you are actually giving them the greatest gift possible, the dignity of their own fate. You are respecting them enough to let them fail. You are respecting them enough to let them hit rock bottom. Rock bottom is a solid foundation. You hit it and you built a launch pad. Maybe they will too. Maybe they won't. But you cannot carry them. If you carry them, you rob them of the impact. You are the dead hand that cut the rope. You are the one who let them fall so you could fly. This is the ultimate act of love, the love of the truth. The truth is that everyone must save themselves. You are saving yourself. You are building the ark. If they want to get on, they better start swimming. You are not turning the boat around. You are heading for the open sea. Engage the dead hand. Automatic consequences for interruption. No warnings. Hold the void. Don't fix the mess. Let the discomfort force them to act. Selective action. Fix only the mission-critical bottlenecks. Let the rest rot. Kill the apology. You are a monolith. Monoliths don't say sorry. Respect their fate. Let them fall. It's the only way they might learn to fly. The initiative is liquidated. The fixer is dead. The architect is sovereign. The trajectory is set. AAOXI3 out.